What if I told you that being a gamer means you can learn languages faster and easier than other people? I'm willing to bet you have Discord and Steam on your PC, and a phone, which means you already have the secret to learn any language you want, just like how I learned Spanish. Believe it or not, I learned Spanish from Discord servers and games like VRChat or even games like Valorant and Minecraft. And I put my Spanish to the test in the Dominican Republic, which if you know anything about DR, you know they have a hard-ass dialect. And I was able to go to restaurants, book local hotels, and talk to locals like a breeze. I can show you everything you need to know to achieve this with gaming in any language, whether it be Spanish, Japanese, Arabic, sign language, or even a language you think is not widely spoken enough for you to have the resources to learn. So let's get into it. So why should you trust me? Bueno, primero déjeme demostrarles que sí puedo hablar español. No tengo familia de ningún país hispanohablante, soy estadounidense y desde pequeño solo hablaba inglés. Aprendí español en la escuela, pero no al nivel que tengo hoy en día. Y eso no quiere decir que necesitan ese conocimiento de fondo antes de aprender, porque puedes lograr el mismo resultado exacto con lo que voy a enseñarles. So let's talk about how you could do it too. If you already have a basic level of speaking, then you can skip ahead to the next chapter. If you're starting completely from the beginning, your best bet to self-learn is surprisingly apps that they tell you to avoid, including Duolingo. Don't get me wrong, I do not like Duolingo, and there's a handful of reasons why criticisms of these apps are valid, as they don't often teach you things like grammar rules properly or allow you to truly practice your conversational skills. But I believe there's still a gamified resource that makes it easy to build basic vocabulary and comfort receiving input without having to pick up a textbook because, I'm gonna be honest, books are not really my thing, they may not be your thing either. You obviously still have to read to learn a language, and if you're into books, then it's much better for you to use a textbook or ebook alongside these apps. I just think it's possible to learn these things from gaming apps and online research alone, and if a gaming language learning app keeps you receiving input more than setting up Anki, which is obviously the much more efficient language learning tool, then so be it. Duolingo has a lot of languages, but for many, this is not the best place to learn at all. There are a lot of apps that are specifically meant for the language that you want to learn, and in the description I have a link with a comprehensive resource list for pretty much every language in the world. Now, before we get into the fun part, we need to first get familiar with how to introduce yourself in a language and learn what you'll actually use in conversation before you bring it out to the games. Easily enough, you can do this with some basic preparation. When I first started trying to talk to people in VRChat using my Spanish, I found that I had a lot of vocab that was pretty much useless for meeting people, like random animals and activities I had memorized. I couldn't use these when I was trying to make a conversation, and I wasn't comfortable enough telling people where I was from, why I'm learning Spanish, and other basic phrases that you use in everyday conversation. I learned what I needed from a lot of translation and trial and error, but you can quickly brush up on these phrases that you need by looking up conversation phrases or introduction phrases for the language of your choosing. Once you've gotten some down, you can finally get to what you've been waiting for. If you're ready to start leveling up your language skills from just a beginner, then let's get into the fun part. Once you've learned a basic level of vocab and phrases, you can start doing what you were already going to do, gaming and watching shows. I'll start out with gaming. In hindsight, I think using Discord language exchange servers is much better than how I went about it at first, but I started out using VRChat during quarantine thanks to videos like these, which I'm sure you've seen already if you're watching this. A lot of these servers are filled with people who, in kind words, are not necessarily looking to help you learn your language, but I made lifelong friendships with people I met organically on VRChat years ago that I still talk to this day, and they helped me get to the level that I'm at now, so it was worth filtering through the horde of trolls for that. And despite the name, you don't need VR to play. I was playing on a pretty bad PC and was able to run it on low graphics and meet people who I ended up playing games with and just having combos with where I could practice my Spanish and help them with their English. Especially if you're an English speaker, it's easier than it's ever been to learn a language from a sheer numbers game. Let's be honest, at least in America, we're not known for being particularly interested in languages other than English. Many more people are trying to learn English than English speakers are trying to learn another language. And if you go to a Discord language exchange server where the vibes are especially catered for you to meet people to practice with, chances are there are people who are dying to get real English practice while you get free practice in your language. I have a link to another comprehensive list with those servers in the description too. I found language partners and more close friends with these servers where eventually I didn't need to use the server to practice Spanish. While I was using the server, my favorite way to practice was with reading sessions, where everyone takes turns reading an excerpt in their target language while natives in that language listen and take notes on how you pronounce words. You get instant native feedback on your pronunciation, and because there are more people trying to learn English than the other way around, I had a bunch of feedback to take note of and way more exposure to meeting people that I could partner up with. Of course, this all just refines what you already know and helps you find out what you don't know, so my last step gives you the final piece to achieve the level that you want in your language. Super quick, I stream on Twitch, so if you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to follow and ask the next time I go live. As you practice with your partners and game to get your conversation skills in, you're still going to need to expand your knowledge, and the best way to do so is with immersive input. First, let's talk about what it means for input to be immersive. Obviously, any input will help you, but you won't learn a language fast unless you expose yourself to it in as many ways as possible. Why do you think people who move to a new country oftentimes just pick up the language that they speak there? They don't have any other choice. It's all they hear, and they need to speak it to function in society. You need a lot of input to learn, whether it be music, shows, games, whatever entertainment you enjoy. I unfortunately play Valorant, and for as long as I can remember, my game has been in Spanish. There's constantly going to be things that you will never learn unless you immerse yourself in the language, and you can do that by changing things you were already going to do into your target language. When Jujutsu Kaisen came out, I told my friend I'd watch it with him, but I had to watch it in Spanish with a translator on my second monitor so I could pick up on any new words and add it to my list on Spanish Dict to study later. As you can imagine, I got a lot of vocab about curses and spirits, which is still pretty helpful for me. But for vocab that you'll use in your everyday, it can be as easy as changing the language on your phone, which I did too. Forcing myself to use my phone in Spanish taught me so many words that are relevant in so many categories of life, especially internet and computer terms that you use in English all the time. I used to work at a library and I was able to help patrons that only spoke Spanish, primarily because of the immersive input I got from switching the language on my phone. And from this point on, it's a cycle of picking up new knowledge and putting it to the test in your games and conversations with practice partners that you met from said games and Discord servers. Before you know it, you'll be at a level that you never thought was possible in a pretty short time. If you made it this far, I'm honestly proud of you. Take this guide and run with it to learn whatever language you want today, not tomorrow. If you like this type of content or gaming in general, please consider subscribing for when I upload next. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. My name is Karii, and by the next time I upload, I know you'll have mastered the language of your dreams. Bye.